Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AEW Dynamite April 14th, 2021 review. This was a very, very entertaining show. It most definitely was a good one. That main event with Matt Hardy and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship was superb. Fucking pay-per-view quality, take my money match. That was awesome. I enjoyed that match very much, as well as the rest of this show. This show was very, very entertaining. It was a solid show throughout most of it, and then at the end, it became a fucking awesome show because of what Darby Allin and Matt Hardy did. I have got to give those two guys a ton of credit. Awesome matchup between those two guys. The Young Bucks versus the Rey Fenix and Pac, which kickstarted the show for the AEW Tag Team titles. That was another great matchup. The Young Bucks retained their tag team titles in a fantastic matchup. The match ended with, I believe it was Matt Jackson, who ripped off Rey Fenix's mask and then kicks him in the fucking face and gets the 1-2-3 for the victory for the Young Bucks, who are now heels. They did kickstart the show before the matchup and actually cut a promo. Let me get to that real quick. Read off what was mentioned during that. Hold on one sec, guys. If I can. Okay, so this week's show kicks off with a cold open that shows the Young Bucks holding their tag team titles and showing highlights of them attacking Jon Moxley last week, declaring they did it because they decided to choose their friendship with Kenny Omega. They mention that when it comes to Don Callis, when you're right about something, you're right. They've still been good, but they haven't been the same. Matt Jackson says he doesn't know about Nick Jackson, but he's no longer content. He wants to bring back the old Young Bucks and show a newer, better version of themselves. And that was pretty much that. From there, we get the trademark signature opener to kickstart the show, and we get the very first match with, we get MJF confronting Mike Tyson because there's an announcement Mike Tyson is a special enforcer during the Chris Jericho versus Dax Hardwood match. We shoot backstage to Mike Tyson, who talks about being proud to be the special enforcer for the match tonight between Chris Jericho and Dax Hardwood, when in walks MJF. MJF tells Mike Tyson to slow his roll as Iron Mike got in his face. He tells him he's too young to know him, but his father told him he used to be a great boxer. He tells Mike that there's no better time tonight than to get even with his longtime enemy, Chris Jericho. Tyson tells MJF that he's starting at his enemy right now. He's staring at his enemy right now. Friedman attempts to give Tyson a blank check, and Tyson rips it up and bites it and spits it in his face and tells Tyson that he will remember that and walks off. He also mentioned during this promo, which was absolutely fucking awesome, great comeback by MJF. Tyson says he's not going to go ahead and choose any sides. He's not choosing Jericho's side. He's not choosing MJF's side. He's going to call it right down the middle, make sure everyone is following the rules, and that is that. He said, MJF says, well, I hope you don't, I think Mike Tyson said also, so don't make any moves because you will regret it. And then MJF comes back and he says, well, maybe I won't do anything I will regret, but I know for a fact you might regret something that you have on your face. So went ahead and took a shot at Mike Tyson's tattoo, which I thought was fucking awesome. I'm surprised Mike Tyson didn't tear him a new asshole after seeing something like that. But he kept his composure and he didn't attack him in that segment, which I thought was fucking outrageously funny. We then get the AEW Tag Team titles on the line. Rey Fenix and Pac versus the Young Bucks. I already mentioned that the Young Bucks retained their tag team titles. A very good matchup. I do believe the Jurassic Express are like number 1 or number 2 in the tag team division, the rankings. So I could imagine the Young Bucks losing the tag team titles at some point. Not right away. I want to see them hold on to it for a little bit longer. I think by All Out, it should be okay for, in my opinion, okay for them to lose the tag team titles. Because I think Jurassic Express deserves to have a run as tag team champions. I think at this point, these two teams have fought each other. The Young Bucks and Jurassic Express during that tag team tournament to crown the first ever tag team champions 2 years ago. And I believe no, actually that did not happen. I apologize. I made a mistake. That was a private party. They faced the Young Bucks in that tournament. But I do believe at some point in time, the Young Bucks did face Jurassic Express. I'm not sure. Tell me if I'm right or wrong in the comments down below. If you guys know for a fact if those two teams ever competed. Because I'm a little kind of forgetting the history of the Young Bucks and AEW right now on who they've fought and who they haven't fought. But Jurassic Express is a good tag team. I think they would be suitable to take the tag titles. They seem to be like great baby faces in the tag team division. So for them to actually overcome the Young Bucks and actually win the tag team titles, I think would be a great idea. But we got to I think the Young Bucks need to dominate the summer and stay tag team champions throughout the entire summer until the fall. I think that's when they should lose the tag team titles. By the fall, that's when they should lose it. So, let's see here. So, we get to the end of that matchup. And Alex Marvez is interviewing Hangman, Adam Page, and the Dark Order. The commentators send it to Alex Marvez, who's backstage with Hangman Page and some of his new friends. On that note, we see Page standing by with the entire Dark Order. He talks about getting something to eat. Marvez said he wanted to ask him about something else, and we head to commercial break. So the whole entire thing is a complete comedy act. Alex Marvez sucks. I can't stand his fucking ass. But we need to start getting Hangman Page. He's number 1 in the World Championship division. Why the fuck aren't we getting a serious storyline out of this dude? We should be seeing something built up with this guy. He's number 1. I mean, he doesn't have to challenge for the world title yet. I think we should see him getting overlooked by the top 5 guys in the World Championship division. And then eventually Hangman Page getting pissed off and angry at the fact that Tony Khan keeps overlooking him and not giving him the World Championship match that he rightfully deserves. So I think that would be the best way to get him more serious and get him into the world title picture. And then you can also build off of what Kenny Omega and Hangman Page has got going on in their history. And you got your own storyline right there all built up for you right there in a fucking, a nice little wrapped up with a bow on it. I mean, it's that easy. This storyline is not going to be that hard to do. I think at this point you should have Hangman Page keep winning. Keep him, relevant on television. That way he's not forgotten about. And have other challengers competing for the world title besides Hangman Page, and then have Hangman Page finally snap and lose his cool and go, what the fuck ain't I getting a title shot against Hangman Page? I'm number 1 in my division, and yet you guys aren't. Tony Khan, you're not giving me a shot for the world championship? What the fuck's your deal? So that could lead to certain things. Maybe we could even see Tony Khan on television in just one little setup here with Hangman Page. And that's about it. But they definitely got a storyline here that could be built up for the next couple of months. They just need to keep Hangman Page relevant and give him something a little bit better than what they've been giving him for the last couple of weeks. Because it's been shit. Some of these episodes he hasn't even been on the air, which is not good. We need to see him on television doing something of any kind, and something important, and something entertaining and serious. He does have a match next week. I forgot who he's facing. Oh yeah, Ricky Starks. That's going to be a good match. I really think those two guys are going to put on a good match together. So, Jericho, so we return from the break, and the commentators send it over to Alex Marvez once again. He was all over the place. This time as he is standing with the Inner Circle and Mike Tyson. Jericho talks by first addressing the pineapple, leading to Marvez to correct him, and as he says, it's the pinnacle. Jericho goes on to talk about his history with Iron Mike. Hold on. Iron Mike, and then he says he called him to apologize to him in case things didn't go smooth last week. He says just because Tyson is the special enforcer tonight, he doesn't expect any special treatment. Tyson tells him not to worry because although he doesn't want to, he will knock him out again if he has to. And Jericho says he doesn't want that either. And that's basically that. Nothing really important there. Just a lot of back and forth conversation between those two guys. Red Velvet versus Jade Cargill. This was a good matchup as well. I mean, it wasn't great compared to everything else on this show. It's probably the lowest level of the show. Well, actually, Chris Statlander's match was kind of bad, but it wasn't her fault. She was just going up against an enhancement talent. But this was a good match for what it was. It wasn't bad. Jade Cargill wins this matchup. And then we go to Tony Schiavone interviewing Dr. Britt Baker. Now, from what I've heard, Britt Baker is now a 7-1 this year. She's ranked number 3. She also addresses, I think, Red Velvet, stating that she now has a loss. She was 5-1, now she's 5-2, and announces she will be competing on Monday's episode of AEW Dark Elevation. My question is this: why is she competing on Dark? If she is the top 3, now supposedly going to legitimately move up to the second spot in the women's division, why isn't she being placed on television on Dynamite? She's been there from day one. She should be used on television. If you're building her up for a world title match for the women's division, she should be on television competing, not cutting promos about how she should be the number 1 contender for the women's championship. This was something I did not like. I thought this was a little I thought it was dumb. I don't like the idea that you're putting Britt Baker on a pedestal, yet you don't put her on television to compete. And you got her in the top 2 now. She's number 2 women's wrestler in the women's division. You ain't got her on TV competing against somebody? That's fucking stupid. Really, that is. But anyway, moving forward here, we got Anthony Ogogo, former boxer, who I found out on Wikipedia is 11-1. He had to retire from boxing because of eye injury, that if he kept fighting, he would have ended up with a severe eye injury and never be able to see again. So that's why he had to retire from boxing. He ends up winning this match with no problem by a referee stoppage TKO with a punch to the gut. and he knocked his opponent down. It was an enhancement talent. The enhancement talent's name was Cole Carter. Nothing big there. We then have a segment with the best man Miro with a message for Kip Sabian and any champions. So there's a shoot vignette that shows the best man Miro talking to the camera as he addresses Kip Sabian, noting he hasn't seen him since the Arcade Anarchy match, and he just wants to smooth things over. Why does he want to smooth things over? I don't understand this. This is kind of stupid in my opinion. Miro should be on his own. He doesn't need to do anything with Kip Sabian. This thing with those two need to end. Put it to rest. Forget about it. Move on. So he goes on to say, he says, with or without him, however, he has his sights set on goal. This is what I want to hear. Fuck Kip Sabian. Fuck him. Who gives a shit? He says anyone holding a title in AEW, as graphics of each title holder is shown, better run and hide. And that is pretty much the basis of that promo. I have to say, we need to start seeing Miro competing in some meaningful matches against some top contenders. I don't say put him in the world title picture right away. That's no. You don't want a Lance Archer or any of that other shit, or a Brian Cage type of situation here. And he's been there for, almost a year? So, we don't need that. We need a win streak with Miro, and then Miro possibly challenging for the TNT Championship. If you want to take the TNT Championship off of Darby Allin later on in the future for Miro, after he's built up some wins throughout the rest of this summer, and you want to do that in the middle of the fall or something on a Dynamite episode or even pay-per-view like Full Gear, I'm all for it. But Miro does not need to be anywhere near that World Championship title, because all he's going to end up doing is losing. Don't need that. He needs to work his way up to it. Miro needs to win the TNT Championship. Outside of the United States title in WWE, he has not won a singles title by himself in a very, very long time. So, he needs to do this by winning the TNT Championship first. Then, after a while of being a dominant TNT champion, you could do one of two things. Make him lose it to a good babyface and make him move back and move him into the world title picture and start having him stack up wins again after he loses the belt. Or you can make him a dominant champion, and because of his dominance as TNT World Champion for like 6 months to a year or something like that, if he happens to want to keep wrestling by then, if that's the case, I imagine that can happen. I'd have him say, hey, I've beaten everyone as TNT champion. I'm going to drop the title and move into the world title picture and compete for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that would be believable. I would be totally fine with that, because he definitely would earn it by having so many title defenses as TNT champion. There's no reason why you can't give him a world title opportunity since he's been winning. So that's how I would do that, but that's that's years from now, if they even go that route. Who the fuck knows at this point? But the TNT Championship right now is a very believable task for them to do with Miro to become the TNT Champion. Definitely believable. Chris Jericho versus Dax Hardwood, with Mike Tyson as a special enforcer. This match was fun as shit to watch. You could have made this the main event possibly if you really wanted to. But what they did in that TNT Championship match with Darby Allin and Matt Hardy, it's a toss-up between those two, but I think they made the right choice by making the TNT Championship the main event, because they did some outrageous shit in that match. This match was, a pretty standard fun matchup. MJF's team tried to interfere, but Inner Circle, the rest of the members of the Inner Circle got involved. Sammy Guevara was at ringside. Cash Wheeler was with Dax Hardwood at ringside as well. So this match went back and forth. It could have gone either way. Mostly I was assuming it was going to be Jericho winning. Cash Wheeler was trying to bring in a bat, and I guess use the bat Floyd on Chris Jericho. Mike Tyson saw this, and he grabbed Cash Wheeler, and he hauled off and punched him square in the fucking mouth. Now, he didn't go all the way through with the punch, because if he would have, Cash Wheeler's head would have snapped. I mean, he would have been knocked out. Clean, knocked out, eyes rolled in the back of his head, and his eyes would be closed. He wouldn't even be moving. At least here, Cash Wheeler was still, aware of what the hell was going on, but he looked like he was hurt pretty damn bad, and you can clearly hear the sound of his fist connecting with Cash Wheeler's face. It was pretty fucking brutal. I gotta give Cash Wheeler some credit, man. He can take a fucking punch. I don't care if that punch was pulled or not. He really hit him bad. It looked pretty painful. So anyway, afterwards, Mike Tyson's announced by Chris Jericho that he is now a member of the Inner Circle at this point. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to see Mike Tyson on a weekly basis on Dynamite, or this is just going to be once in a while thing that we see Tyson on TV. So this is a week-to-week basis type of thing to figure out until we know exactly what's going on with Mike Tyson with the Inner Circle, if he's a full-time television act. Alex Marvez interviews the Elite. Man, this guy's got so many fucking interview segments, it's getting kind of repulsive. I didn't even really pay attention to who the hell was interviewing who. But we head outside where Alex Marvez is standing by with the Elite. He talks to Don Callis, who vows that the story didn't end with the Young Bucks rejoining the Elite last week. He says it's just the beginning. Omega talks a bit, and then the Bucks do as well. The Elite are about to make things interesting. Callis ends by saying, "Be prepared to be surprised again." They hit a super kick on the cameraman to end the segment with Don Callis doing the super kick, which was very funny. And as we head to another commercial break at that point. I don't know if we're to expect to see more surprising members of the Elite or something. I'm not sure yet. But this is all leading to Hangman Page proving that he's the best out of the bunch. That he is a superstar and a main eventer. And at the end of all this, by the end of this year, we should see Hangman Page as the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. And I hope that's what we see. Thunder Rosa with a message for all champions. We shoot to a special message from Thunder Rosa, who touts being back in the top 5 rankings in AEW's women's division, and notes that whether it's Tay Conte or Shida, she's coming after either one of them because she wants to capture the AEW women's title as soon as possible. She then tells Serena Deeb that she wants the NWA women's title as well. And that's basically it with that segment. She wants to prove that she's the absolute best female wrestler in the world today. I think Thunder Rosa is pretty good, but I don't know if she's that good. She's pretty decent, I would have to say. She's not terrible. Chris Statlander had a match with Amber Nova. Amber Nova, I have to say, she's very beautiful, but she is not exactly wrestling material. The woman needs to go back and get some more training, because she sucked. This match blowed. Chris Statlander, of course, won this match hands down. If you thought she was going to lose, you're crazy. Dasha Gonzalez interviews Team Taz. We get a backstage segment where Taz is talking about looking to lock down Christian as part of Team Taz. This promotes Ricky Starks to speak out of turn, and Taz tells him he hears him, but asks him to hang back here during the Christian's match tonight. Brian Cage agrees with Taz, but the human suplex machine tells him to hang back as well. He vows again to lock down Christian as part of Team Taz, which eventually you realize that's not going to happen. So Christian turns down the offer by Team Taz, and Taz pretty much unloads on him. He says he's a worthless scumbag shithead, and he just speaks very unkindly to Christian in the fact that he, went ahead and turned down his offer. And so Christian says, well, they both shoot shit at each other, talking crappy to one another, and it leads to Will Hobbs getting in there and them beating the shit out of Christian and leaving him lifeless on top of the steel steps. And that's pretty much that. The main event was next for the TNT Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Folks, there ain't much to say about this. This is a very, very straightforward match. This was fucking awesome. That's all that needs to be said. This was fucking awesome. 4 words, that's all it needs to be said. This was awesome. Now 3 words, since I didn't add the fucking in there. But bottom line, guys, if you didn't watch this match or you missed this episode, do not miss this match. If you don't care to watch the whole entire show, there's one thing you can watch on this show that will entertain you like nobody's business, and that is the TNT Championship between Matt Hardy and Darby Allin. Bottom line, guys, this was the match of the fucking night, hands down, with no doubt about it. Jericho and Dax Hardwood was very entertaining too, no doubt about that, but this was the main event, well deserving of the main event. And I got to say, Matt Hardy made Darby Allin look great. Darby Allin fought his heart out. It was very unbelievable at a certain point. He was taking every fucking shot Matt Hardy could give him, and he kept kicking out. Thankfully, Darby Allin did some dreadful things to Matt Hardy before he captured the victory here. He managed to hit him in the throat with a baseball bat that Sting brought to the ring during a little bit of chaos that occurred with Butcher, the Blade, Private Party coming out and trying to screw things up for Darby Allin's title defense. And Sting and the Dark Order came out of nowhere. I don't know what the Dark Order has to do with Darby Allin. I guess they have beef with the Butcher and the Blade, I'm assuming. But they keep showing up during Darby Allin's matches. Is this some sort of ploy to get him part of the Dark Order or something? I'm not sure about this. But Sting keeps showing up in Darby Allin's matches. Now, I gotta say, that shit's getting a little fucking annoying, to be quite frank with you. Sting doesn't need to have Darby Allin's back. I hope eventually this leads to Darby Allin saying, look, I'm not a pathetic loser who's carrying around this TNT championship that I defend almost every time I'm on TV. I'm a hard worker, I bust my ass, and I'm a champion. I don't need your help. Hopefully, eventually, that leads to a one-on-one match with Darby Allin and Sting for the TNT Championship. You got a very good match right there. Sting was one of the biggest names on TNT that got people interested and excited to tune in for WCW besides Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. And he was the WCW's version of The Undertaker. He was very good at what he did. And he was an honorable wrestler and everything else in between. He was the ultimate babyface that you can get behind and believe in. And for him at this time in his age to compete for a title such as like the TNT Championship, I think is a great opportunity for him. It's a great opportunity to display how Darby Allin could do against a legend, and for Darby Allin to get a big victory over a name like Sting. I mean, you get a win over Sting? I mean, that's fucking awesome, and I think Darby Allin deserves a win over Sting, and I think that's what is eventually going to lead to. I think Sting and Darby Allin will clash for the TNT Championship to ultimately give the win to Darby Allin, which I think is the right thing to do. At that point, though, I'm a little lost on what you do with Sting. Maybe you get Sting completely off television for a while, give him some backstage work to do with some of the young talent. I'm not sure, but if you have this match take place, I do believe you should take Sting off of television after the loss, because it's not going to do well with a lot of people with him just showing up after he just lost to fucking Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Now, granted, there is another storyline that's going on with Sting with Lance Archer. Lance Archer and Sting actually had a face-to-face confrontation, but it wasn't anything bad. I mean, they didn't attack each other. Lance Archer beat the shit out of Private Party with a blackout on one of them. I think it was Isaiah Cassidy. And he went ahead and just blacked out his ass, and then he attacked the other Private Party member, Mark Quinn, I believe, and he just had his way with him, and he smiled back at Sting, and Sting just kind of stared him down like, okay, whatever. Nothing special there. And the rest of the match was history. I mean, Matt Hardy and Darby Allin just beat the shit out of each other all over the arena. And the match ended with Darby Allin hitting a coffin drop. After he hit him in the throat with the baseball bat, he puts him on the announcer's desk. He climbs all the way up onto this fucking pillar by the announcer's desk that's really high up in the air. And he fucking leaps off that bitch and falls right through Matt Hardy and into the table. Table breaks, and he gets the 1, 2, 3 and the victory over Matt Hardy. Fucking awesome way to end the match. Very fun and very enjoyable. And I gotta say, Matt Hardy unloaded on Darby Allin. Darby Allin was bruised from head to toe, man. Darby Allin can take a beating and keep on ticking, man. This guy is fucking unbelievable. The type of beating this guy can take and just keep going. He must have been sore after this match. I mean, if I was AEW, I'd keep him off TV. Or not keep him off TV, but just let him cut a promo and let him chill out for next week. Because bottom line, and I don't think this was a live show. I think this was tape recorded because I didn't see the live wording in the corner of the screen. So generally, most of the time when they have a live show, they have live written on the corner of the screen in the top left-hand corner. And I kind of think that they need to give this guy a break. He wrestled on Friday night. He also wrestled on Thursday night because they do another episode immediately after the live show. So the next day they do another show to do next Wednesday's episode. And then they did a live show on Friday night it wasn't a live show, it was a house show that wasn't shown on television at Daily Place, and he also competed there. The guy fought 3 times in 1 week, and it wasn't no easy fights either. He was definitely busting his ass in each of those matches. So, bottom line, I mean, Darby Allin needs a break. He's been taking quite a beating. Anyway, at this time, guys, that's pretty much the end of the review. Very, very entertaining show. If you guys didn't catch this, dude, go back and watch this. Whichever way you can watch it, go back and watch it. It was a fun episode. Very entertaining shit. So at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a great night. Bye.